You see, our country as we speak is suffering from one of the worst forms of inflation ever known to mankind. And this inflation is simply general increase in price of goods and services.
You get it?
And don't get me wrong, inflation is a global issue. Every country suffers from inflation.
Yes.
But in a well-coordinated economy, inflation happens little by little. Maybe after a period of time, there is a slight leap in the price of goods and services due to certain factors. Inflation in a year might be 2 to 5%. All of us were in this country some time ago. Price of certain commodities remained constant for a couple of years. I remember our favorite cowbell milk that we bought for 10 naira for many years. When I was in secondary school, the price of pen was so constant that I thought it was enshrined in the constitution. At some point in this country, the relationship between Nigerian police and 20 naira was so constant and so stable that you get the point now. But this level of inflation that we have now, that if you price something in the morning and you go back in the evening to buy it, it has added price.
Hell.
This one that is per seconds, per minute. This one that is so bad that if you are negotiating for any commodity and the seller, the phone rings, you will not allow him to pick. Because if he picks that call, he will tell you that price has increased in the headquarters. This level of devilish hyperinflation is not normal. And this particular type is created by government's inefficiency. And I will explain.
Okay.
There are many factors that are contributing to this hyperinflation in Nigeria now, but I will summarize it under 5 factors.
Continue.
1 is exchange rate. 2, monetary policy. 3, subsidy removal. 4, tax laws. And 5, insecurity. And all of them point to government's inefficiency. Now, exchange rate. Between 1999 and 2015, our exchange rate moved from 90 naira to $1 to 187. You can see the gradual increase.
No problem.
But from 2015 till now, you will know how much it has moved. What happened was, from 2015, our president became Borrower General of the Federation.
Dissolve!
He moved our foreign debt from $6.5 billion to around $36 billion. One person borrowed more than all our previous presidents combined together.
You dey use your function to play.
And what happens is, for every loan which is not matched by productivity and investment, it affects the currency negatively.
You don't know.
So it is not rocket science that the more indebted we became, the more our currency lost value. And sometimes borrowing is not even the problem. The problem is, are you borrowing for running cost or you are borrowing for capital expenditure? In Nigeria, we borrow for running cost, to run an extravagant government, to buy jets, buy yachts, build mansions, and buy things that we don't even need, to impress the people that don't even care.
Funny people.
The only country where a president will be going for meeting abroad, he takes 200 delegates. They stay in lavish hotels just to hold meetings with world leaders that they are going to beg for more loans.
Hell.
In the country, we borrow money and we steal it, and then we borrow new one to use it and pursue those that stole the one that we borrowed before.
God have mercy upon us.
And when your currency begins to lose value due to indebtedness, and you are an import-dependent economy, it leads to hyperinflation.
You get it?
Then it takes us to our second point, monetary policy.
Continue.
As the president was borrowing, he was not just borrowing externally, he was also borrowing internally.
Hey!
Whenever there is a deficit in the budget, he will go and meet CBN and turn CBN into a printing press.
What?
And CBN will be printing more money for the president as overdraft in what they call ways and means.
That is not.
Sometimes they speak big English and confuse you. Ways and means simply means reckless printing of new naira to fund the deficit in the budget.
Really?
And when you recklessly print new currency without matching it with investment or productivity, it makes every other currency in that economy to lose value.
You get it?
It's like having 10 bread in an economy and you have 10 naira. It simply means 1 naira will go for 1 bread. if tomorrow you print additional 10 naira and push into that economy without increasing the capacity to produce more bread, the person that had 10 naira yesterday and has 20 naira today is not twice as richer. It simply means that the bread will cost twice as much.
Learn a lesson.
And this current administration is following the footsteps of the previous one. Meanwhile, he told us he's going to continue, so we are not surprised.
Yeah, maybe one.
And to make matters worse, this current administration has floated the naira, which means CBN can no longer fix the exchange rate. Exchange rate is now determined by demand and supply. And Nigeria will demand more dollar than we get because we import more than we export. We have more students scrambling for dollars to pay tuition fees abroad, but we don't have anybody coming in to study in Nigeria to bring us foreign exchange. So with this mad scramble for the available dollar, it has made the value of the dollar to skyrocket and driven down the level of our own currency. And what does it cause? Hyperinflation. Which brings us to the issue of subsidy.
Hell.
Now the problem with Nigeria is not paying subsidy. The problem is the scam around the subsidy.
Corruption.
Nigeria is an oil producing country. So subsidizing petroleum products for the people to have it cheaper is not too much to ask. But just like P2B pointed out during campaign, Nigeria is the same size as Pakistan. Pakistan has more automobiles, more cars, more roads, yet our yearly fuel consumption is 3 times that of Pakistan. And the question is, who is drinking the balance?
Chidi.
So because government pays subsidy for every liter of petroleum product imported into Nigeria, people will now inflate the amount of fuel that is being imported. For every 1,000 that government pays as subsidy, 600 or 700 is entering into individual pockets.
Hell.
And what it has cost is that money that could have subsidized petroleum products in Nigeria for 100 years has been squandered in 25 years. And because this current administration needs more money to fund an extravagant government, they cannot carry the burden of subsidy and they removed it.
For what?
But they removed it without checking implications, without putting measures in place for a soft landing. And it has caused this hyperinflation that we are facing now.
God will see you.
Assuming a government wants to remove subsidy and they first of all decided to invest in power, it simply means that manufacturers will not depend more on these diesel engines to run their manufacturing costs.
You get it?
Which means price of goods in the market will still be stabilized even in the absence of subsidy. But for a government to allow their national grid to be falling every Eke market day, and then they are sending trailer load of rice to Nigerians as a palliative to cushion the effect of subsidy, looks like a master strategy from a master strategist.
This man.
Which brings us to the next issue of tax. Now with high exchange rates, wrong monetary policies and subsidy removal, some businesses can no longer run in Nigeria. Now they are closing down and they are leaving. And as they are leaving, they are taking their taxes.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, government has less tax coming in. And when a government has less tax, what are they supposed to do? Ask questions. Why are we having less tax? Because companies are shutting down. Why are they shutting down? Because it is not easy to do business in Nigeria. What can we do to improve the ease of doing business in the country? But no, what this particular government did was to increase taxes. Increase income tax, product tax, custom duty, value-added tax, electronic transfer levy, and every form of tax. And the more you tax manufacturers, the more you tax importers, they will add that tax on the cost of production, which will drive the cost of the finished product, which is leading to hyperinflation.
You get it?
So the government may not be coming to your house to collect taxes, but through heavy taxation of manufacturers and importers, they are causing hyperinflation and they are indirectly taxing everybody.
We must learn a lesson.
And the last issue is insecurity. Farmers cannot farm. Now we are dependent on imported food. And you know the cost of importation, which is driving food inflation. And even the small food we manage to produce in Nigeria now, we have excess cash chasing little food. I remember when a basket of tomato was between 500 to 1,000. Now you know how much a painter costs. And this food inflation is the worst form of inflation because you can cut off a lot of things from your budget, but you can't cut off food because you need food to survive. Now, what is the solution to all of these things? Cutting down the cost of governance can solve 50% of this problem.
You get
Because it means the government will be disciplined enough to cut their coats according to their size. It simply means that the government will not be under pressure to borrow unnecessarily. And when they are borrowing, they are investing in the right areas that will bring in the right returns. But the problem is the type of government we have now, they cannot solve the problem.
Create wonders.
You cannot give what you don't have. I remember during campaign, somebody was talking about these things, talking about cutting the cost of governance, talking about declaring war in the power sector, talking about poverty index, unemployment index, insecurity index. But people said, let's leave him. We don't like him. We don't like his face. We don't like the part of the country where he came from.
Child.
Somebody even said, is it statistics that we are going to eat? Today, even that agbado we are supposed to eat is no longer affordable.
You must learn a lesson.
So as a Nigerian, what you are going to do is to find a way to diversify your income, cut down your expenditure, and hope for the best.
Yes.
And save this video and share it because we are going to need it again in 2027. But for now,
Enjoy your weekend.
Nala, anyị na-ekwensu nọ n'ala